Weartesters, Duke4005 back with another performance review, this time with a shoe I wasn't really sure I was going to be too crazy about based on my review of the first series of this, but I'm really glad that Jordan and Taylor sent these to me. Superfly 3 PO. Really the only thing that's changed is the upper materials on this shoe, which drastically improved the fit. We'll get into that a little bit later. But as far as the cushioning, traction, it's pretty much the same, so it's maybe a short but sweet review. As you can see behind me, we finally got a break from the rain and the floods and the storms here in DFW, so I've got better things to do with my time than talk about a shoe everybody's already seen, but I thought I'd give y'all a little bit of an update on the materials and the way this thing fits. So let's get to it. Sorry, my dog actually just got out. Sorry about that. I'll be right back. I really did have to go catch my dog. Evidently the back gate of my fence was left open by probably the little Duke kids in the house, and my dog was chasing my redneck neighbor on his dirt bike running around in the back pasture. For those of y'all who don't know, you can see behind me, I do live kind of out in the country west of Fort Worth, Dallas, and so there's a lot of motorcycles, boats, RVs, that kind of type of people that live out here. So yeah, my dogs tend to go crazy. So anyway, Superfly 3 PO, let's get into it. Okay, so the first thing I've told you we'd always mention is, of course, the materials, and that is the main difference between this shoe and the regular Superfly 3. Whereas the Superfly 3 had a tight, stiff fuse upper, this one is more of a ballistic type mesh with, you can see the dimples in here. It's not really like the Nike Pro Combat. It's more just, I mean, it's just a mesh material with some dimples in it for some ventilation, I would assume, or maybe it's just a design element, I'm not for sure. Not the highest quality material, but it is backed, you can see here on the tongue, it's got a nice foam backing on it for some ventilation. This part of the tongue, the lower part, is really, really thin. You can almost see my fingers through it, which really does ventilate nicely. There is enough of a padding on these dimples that it keeps the lace pressure from being too much. So you've got the mesh, you've got some fuse overlays for some support right here through the lateral side and then through the toe box for some toe drag. Again, those James Harden Euro steps. I don't see Blake doing too many Euro steps, but I'm not sure what that benefits him other than just being strong from getting stepped on. But one thing I did find kind of weird about this shoe is the medial side is stiffer than the lateral side. I'm not real sure what the benefits are of that, but it is noticeably stiffer when you mash it with your finger, that you can just push this lateral side in a little bit better. For me personally, I'd prefer the lateral side to be a little bit tighter, where I know I'm not going to roll over. I'm going to have a little more containment on that side, but you know, it is what it is. I can't argue with them. All right, the traction pattern on this shoe, as well as the Jordan 29 and the Superfly 3, is, and really the Mellow M11, is all the same. It's got this wave bone type of traction, and I've got no complaints against any those three or four shoes. It's good traction. It really works on all surfaces. I did find this one a little stickier than my Superfly 3, perhaps because this is a translucent outsole, whereas my Superfly 3 is a solid rubber, so it does have a little more give to it. One thing I did notice though is when it did get some moisture on it, it was very, very, very slick. And I say moisture because some jackwagon spilt a bottle of Gatorade on the floor in the gym, and that area just stayed slick for about the last 2-3 days. So it does get really slick when it gets moisture on it, but what shoe doesn't? So now it does have a little bit more of a pronounced unlock zoom unit than what the regular Jordan 29 does. I haven't had any problems with my Superfly 3 29 Mellows popping yet, like everybody did on the 28, so still it's not an issue here. Okay, we'll go straight from the cushioning into the midsole. I'm sorry. Let me completely change that. Let's go from the traction to the cushioning and the midsole. We've got the unlock zoom unit in the forefoot, which, as anybody knows, is the best implementation of zoom I've had in I don't know how many years. It's bouncy, it's responsive, it's stable. It's like nothing else that Nike's putting out right now. It's the way zoom, I remember it when it first came out, and this is what it felt like. I don't know what these dead units are encased in all this EVA and poly and everything else Nike's putting in there now that takes away from the responsiveness, but this is the zoom unit that needs to be around forever, in my opinion. The heel, again, is just EVA foam. There's nothing there, but the way it's cored out, when you take a look here, It does have some nice compression. I really didn't notice it. I don't do a lot of landing on my heels, and I don't do a lot of post moves, so it really didn't bother me that much just being foam. Some are worried about it bottoming out, going dead before the forefoot does. I can see it if you don't have a rotation of shoes, if this is your shoe that you wear every day, all day. But I mean, for a couple of hours of basketball a day, you should be fine. Okay, the zoom unit is coupled again with the flat plate, and you can see it here as it comes up and makes more of a counter around the heel, and a little bit here on the forefoot, which really gets us into the stability issues, and there were none. There's a slight outrigger you can find on this part of the outsole, but not really. You can look from the top and see it's not that big. There really is no stability issues. You've got your flat plate here for torsional support. It keeps your foot over the footbed, and really it's just that area is something there's no complaints at all about. It's a very stable shoe, which it needs to be for Blake as he takes off on his flights. Okay, now we get into fit, which I apologize, it's normally my second category, but the fit is the main area that improved on this shoe from the first so much. I never got a good lockdown through here, through the midfoot in the first Superfly 3. The materials were just too stiff, did not break in, which they were durable as hell. I mean, they were built like a tank, and they still don't show any signs of wear after I've had them since October. But that's a bad thing too, because it means the upper never broke in, it never really fit my foot. So this shoe, being the mesh, is a completely different story. You can pull it tight, it stays tight. It really fits your foot in all aspects. It's a little bit roomy in the forefoot here, but not enough to be a deal breaker. I mean, I still didn't feel my foot sliding around very much at all on the forefoot. And one thing I did like in the first Superfly 3 is it had the pull tab with the Achilles padding. This one has the dog bone that was first saw on the D Wade years ago, what, 5 years ago? And it just continues, and I think that is a great innovation that they came up with for that shoe. And it just really locks in around that Achilles and stops any kind of heel movement at all. I did like the new badge they put in the bottom. Let's see if I can get it in here. It says engineered for flight. It's got the Jumpman. That's really pretty cool, I think. It's just a different badge for Blake, instead of just saying, you know, the Jumpman or saying Jordan, whatever. So it's a nice little touch on that. These fit straps, we already know what they do. They lock the shoe in, and basically, I mean, it's just a much improved fit, much improved performance over the first Superfly 3. So that wraps up the Superfly 3 PO from Jordan Brand. Again, if you bought the first Superfly 3, I think you'll really enjoy this shoe. The upper is much more conforming to the fit in your foot. It's going to flex a little bit better. You're going to get a little better feel out of this shoe than you did the first one. If you didn't buy the first one because you didn't like the design, check these out too. I think the upper on these is really, really smooth, really sleek looking. There's only one spot of branding, well, unless you count the tongue, I'm sorry. 2 spots of branding. There's nothing real gaudy on the side, so it's really a sleek looking shoe, really subdued looking, but the colorways they've got out now are just this color, and then I think there's a black and red colorway. I'm not for sure if they're coming out with any more on that, since Blake's pretty much done in the playoffs. However, the price on these is already starting to drop, and for what you get unlocked zoom, you get your flat plate, you get a good fitting upper here, and if you're looking for a shoe, you know, with good court feel, good bounce, pretty good fit through the upper, very durable materials, good stability, this is the shoe for you. If you've got something against Jordan team models, get the hell over it, man. I mean, come on. They've been making good shoes for a while now. Jump on the bandwagon now. Don't say it's, you know, don't wait till it's too late and everybody starts looking for these. Doubt they will, but I thought I might try to push it. Anyway, again, for the price you can get some of these colorways at right now, this is a very, very functional shoe, very good shoe, and it should last you throughout the summer. Next up, I've got the Adidas Cosmic Boost that I got in a couple of weeks ago for a runner. It's kind of a casual shoe and a runner. For now, since it's quit raining, family vacation time, I'm headed to South Padre. See ya.